All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live today. Welcome back to the show. We are doing a little bit of an early broadcast, a couple hours earlier than normal today. And the reason why is because today President Trump is giving an emergency. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure my audio is good here. Mic check 1 2 1 2. President Trump is giving an emergency Oval Office address to the nation. Now, we don't know exactly what he's going to be talking about today. They didn't come out and tell us explicitly, but that being said, we can kind of speculate based on some stuff that they've been talking about. It seems like we are going to be talking about Social Security. Today is the 90th anniversary of Social Security in this nation, and President Donald Trump is going to come out and give some updates about things he's doing as it relates to Social Security. And so really, this is going to be the big news of the day. Now, Donald Trump, President Trump, that is set to come out and go live and give his broadcast in about 13 minutes in the Oval Office. And like I said, folks, listen, hey, these Oval Office addresses are pretty uncommon. President Trump has only ever given, fix my light here. Trump has only ever given 3 of these. No, 4, because he gave one about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So this will be his 4th ever Oval Office address. He normally doesn't give these. Now, the way this normally works is President Trump, maybe he'll have a guest speaker with him in the Oval Office. They're going to talk for maybe, I don't know, a half hour or something like that. And then we're going to be taking questions from the media, from the White House press corps, where they're really going to open everything up. So today's going to be a great broadcast. There's a reason why we're going live. It's because we are going to hear the man speak from the legendary Oval Office itself. So to be totally honest, totally transparent here, we do have 12 minutes until President Trump is scheduled to come out and talk to all of us and give us the new information about what's going on in the nation. So until then, we have some stuff to talk about. You guys know how this goes. President Trump, whenever they're doing events like this, sometimes they tend to be a little bit late. So we're gonna really just kind of break some sort of preliminary information down while we wait for the show to start. So before President Trump comes out, I do want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today on this wonderful Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. If you are new here, please make sure to subscribe. We are live both on Rumble and on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, make sure to like. Thank you all very much for tuning in today. So this is what's going on. President Trump is set to speak in the Oval Office at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That is 10 a.m. Western time. I'm over here on the West Coast. Fun fact, 80% of Americans in this country live east of the Rockies. I found that out a couple months ago, and it kind of blew my mind. I'm over here. I'm living in the no man's land over here, I guess, on the West Coast. 80% of you guys tuning in probably are east of the Rocky Mountains. Everybody lives over closer to the eastern seaboard, so the West Coast is really not that populated. But anyway, 1 p.m. East, 10 a.m. West, that's 11 minutes from now. So take a look at this. There's an article that came out on Fox News just a couple hours ago, kind of prepping people for what President Trump is going to be talking about as it relates to Social Security today. That's what everybody thinks we're going to be talking about today. Social Security. Donald Trump is going to be issuing a presidential proclamation honoring the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act, which will tout his administration's achievements in improving the program, including legislative provisions that will help the vast majority of seniors pay zero tax on their Social Security benefits. Now, folks, I did some preparation today. I've got some fun facts about Social Security that maybe I can share with you guys. Maybe you'll think this is interesting. As things currently stand right now, 70 million Americans are currently collecting Social Security payments. 70 million Americans. To put that into perspective, that is about 20% of the total U.S. population, meaning 1 out of every 5 currently living Americans is collecting Social Security benefits. Okay. Now, the average monthly Social Security payment is right around $2,000 per month, right on the nose. It was like $2,006 per month. That's your average monthly payment across the country. Now, how this relates to the big, beautiful bill, The big beautiful bill, which was passed, I believe it was on the 4th of July, so about 5 weeks ago. The big beautiful bill eliminates, listen carefully, federal income tax on around 88% of Social Security recipients by increasing the standard federal tax deduction for all seniors over the age of 65. So now that we have successfully passed the big beautiful bill, not every single Social Security recipient, but 88% of them are no longer paying federal income tax on their Social Security. So it's not everybody, but still, that's a big deal. That's a massive deal. That's a big deal. Each year, this is where things get a little bit dubious. Take a listen to this. This blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. So this is earlier this year, the Department of Government Efficiency found that over 2 million illegal aliens have been collecting monthly Social Security payments. Over 2 million illegal aliens in this country. Hopefully a lot of them have gone home. Hopefully a lot of them are being deported now. But this is as of maybe 5 or 6 months ago. The DOGE identified over 2 million illegal aliens that have been collecting taxpayer-funded Social Security monthly payments. What is the total value of that? If you do the math, 2 million people times $2,000 a month on average times 12 months in a year. What is that? $48 billion per year was going to illegal aliens that have been collecting Social Security payments. Is my math right on it? Please, somebody go ahead and fact check me on that. Break out the calculator. $48 billion, I believe, of money that I have made, that you have made, that we hardworking American citizens, we pay our taxes, and it's being spent on these Social Security payments of illegal aliens, people that shouldn't even be here in the country in the first place. It's absolutely absurd. So you talk about why we are in so much debt, why the deficit is so high, etc. That's nuts. Now, beyond that, each and every year, there's also around $9 billion worth of Social Security fraud and abuse. What this looks like, this is different than illegal aliens getting it, which is also fraudulent, but this type is different. $9 billion every year worth of Social Security fraud, generally involving foreign fraud rings, where you'll have foreign people in Nigeria or Uganda or in India, scammers, foreign scammers, that will get a hold of the personal identification information, Social Security number, etc., of deceased, dead Americans. They will, pretend to be a dead American because they've got their information now in order to continue collecting Social Security payments. So when you hear about people that are 153 years old that are collecting Social Security payments, it's like, wait a minute, this is a Nigerian scammer. This is an Indian scammer. This is a scammer from the Congo or whatever, right? That's how this stuff happens. So the total value of that situation is $9 billion per year. So add those two numbers up. $48 billion worth of illegal aliens collecting Social Security, $9 billion worth of foreign scammers collecting Social Security monthly payments. What is that? $57 billion per year. And I'm sure there's more fraud and abuse and waste in the system than that. But hey, that's the minimum. 57, we know for a fact. $57 billion per year in Social Security fraud and waste and abuse. Can you believe that? It's unbelievable. Now, gosh, that pisses me off. The Trump administration also right now is in the process of firing around 7,000 Social Security employees that they have in the last couple months deemed to be unnecessary. So this is another type of fraud and waste and abuse. There were 7,000 people working in the Social Security Administration that were not really even doing anything. The Trump administration, and they're all getting paid $95,000 a year, $110,000 a year, taxpayer fund. They've got health care, they've got whatever. And so it's like, and this is stuff, these are federal jobs. that you and I are paying for. The Trump administration, Trump got back in the White House and said, listen, hey, what are you guys even doing? What do you do at work all day? Nothing. Okay. So they've isolated 7,000 of them. 7,000. They're laying off. Now, let's contrast this with the Biden administration. In 2021, you guys are going to remember this. In 2021, the Biden administration proposed, a little bit different, but hear me out. The Biden administration wanted to hire 87,000 new IRS agents, the Internal Revenue Service. So it's a little bit different than Social Security, but anyway, they wanted to hire 87,000 new federal IRS agents. Why? Because they wanted to increase the rate at which they were auditing. Who did they need to audit? They wanted to put the squeeze on the middle class. They wanted to increase the rate at which they were auditing the middle class. And they said, well, if we want to audit every single member of the American middle class, blue-collar Americans nationwide, well, we're going to have to hire 87,000 new IRS agents. And so, the reason I bring this up is really to highlight and showcase that now that President Trump is back in the White House, not only are we not hiring 87,000 new IRS agents to audit and abuse middle-income Americans, instead, we're actually laying off unnecessary federal agents. That's what we're doing. We're laying off federal workers that are not actually doing anything. So totally different, totally opposite ends of the productivity and efficiency spectrum. Let's go ahead and keep reading this article. Now, Donald Trump is going to issue his presidential proclamation Thursday. That's today, really in just a couple minutes, honoring the 90th anniversary of Social Security Act. The Social Security Act was signed into law by President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1935 during the Great Depression. The bill was aimed at creating a federal safety net to help Americans with unemployment, illness, disability, death, and old age. 90 years later, we've had it. The president's Thursday proclamation, which is what we're going to be listening to here pretty soon, proclaimed the act as a monumental legislative achievement. What do we have here? To this day, Social Security is rooted in a simple promise. Those who gave their careers to building our nation will always have the support, stability, and relief that they deserve. The proclamation states, thanks to my administration's efforts, Social Security now stands stronger and more resilient than ever before. Ladies and gentlemen, can I tell you something? I've said this before, but man, I have to say it again just because it blew my mind. You guys know I'm 31 years old. I am not currently collecting Social Security. Hopefully I live long enough to collect Social Security someday. Hopefully the system is still, intact whenever I can retire someday. But, because I'm not collecting Social Security, I didn't even know up until about a year ago that Social Security was being taxed at all. And so when I found that out about a year ago, I said, wait a minute, what the hell is this? You're telling me that Americans are working every single, for years, for 40 or 45 or 50 years, Americans are working diligently. They're paying their taxes. They're having a Social Security portion taken out so it can be given back to them later on when they retire. And then when they do finally get it after working a productive career for 45 years, it's getting taxed again? Are you kidding me? This blew my... I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. And so this is one of the great things about the Big Beautiful Bill, like we said a moment ago, is that because the Big Beautiful Bill passed about 5 weeks ago, now going forward, around 88% of Social Security recipients are no longer going to be having their Social Security monthly payments taxed by the federal government. These payments never should have been taxed in the first place, but they were. And so... thank God. Now, here's what I want to do. I'm going to open up YouTube here. White House. Okay, so folks, any minute now, the White House live broadcast, they should be going live here because according to their own schedule, they should be going live about right now, right this very moment. So give me, maybe there's another broadcast we can pull up here. You've got all different types of things going on. See here. Sometimes the best broadcast is not actually even the official White House broadcast. I'm going to keep an eye on the Right Side Broadcasting Network, and also there's another channel that does great live news coverage. It's called the, what is it called? Well, we can take a look at the Associate Press here. So anyway, guys, ladies and gentlemen, today, once again, we don't know exactly what today's Oval Office address is going to be. We don't know exactly, but it seems like it's going to be about Social Security. I guess there's a 1% chance it's about something else. Could be, I suppose, but it's probably about Social Security. That's probably what it's about. I see the Associate Press is here right now. They're getting their camera equipment set up here. Trump delivers, yeah, this is the title of their broadcast. President Trump delivers remarks on 90th anniversary of Social Security. So that's probably what this is going to end up being here. 90 years of Social Security. And once again, hey, I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today. I appreciate it, folks. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Rumble. We have 5,000 people on YouTube. 205 people I see on Rumble. We are Matt Morse TV on Rumble. We are Matt Morse TV on YouTube. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I really sincerely appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. I wonder if I can find a nice, can we get a nice live stream broadcast of outside the White House? White House front lawn live stream? Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't have one of those. Oh yeah, we sure do while we wait. Take a look at that beautiful building. Look at that. The streets of Washington, D.C. are now going to be getting cleaned up. President Trump is cracking down on Washington, D.C. Thank God. Actually, folks, I have a video coming out a little bit later today, maybe 4 or 5 hours from now, talking about this whole situation with the Washington, D.C. cleanup, the effort to clean up the streets of Washington, D.C. So, hey, make sure to subscribe here and like today's video. I'm going to have more content for you guys later today, but for the time being, we're going to be talking about Social Security. In fact, I would speculate that today we might even be getting some breaking news about Social Security updates or changes to the system that we don't even currently know about. So hopefully we're going to get some good news today. President Trump is coming out here any minute. Any minute now, he's coming on out. Is the official White House broadcast live yet? No. Now, I want to repeat this stat. I read through this a minute ago. Check this out. A couple months ago, the Department of Government Efficiency identified that there were over 2 million illegal aliens that were every month collecting Social Security payments, wasting tens of billions of dollars per year worth of U.S. taxpayer money in the form of fraudulent Social Security payments. And so slowly those people are getting kicked out of the system. Maybe we're going to talk about that today, actually. That's something that President Trump I would say he should talk about that. If we want to have social safety net systems like Social Security or whatever else, listen, this is what we know to be true. Some of these systems, they're great, they work pretty well, but they don't work if you have people that are fraudulently engaging with them, right? In fact, we've actually seen this happening all over Europe. Europe is known for a lot of their social programs. Well, in the last 10 years or so, Europe has started taking a lot of migrants from the third world. Millions, tens of millions of them have come flooding into Europe. And now these really robust, successful, long-standing social programs all across Europe, in Germany and Sweden and Denmark and all over the place, these systems are on the brink of total collapse. Why? Because now they have tens of millions of third world migrants that are they're taking from the system, but they're never actually giving into these systems. And so a lot of these systems, they do conceptually, they work, but if you have too many people that are selfishly or greedily taking out and never actually contributing or putting in, then the systems don't work. And so this is what we were just talking about a moment ago with Social Security. The Department of Government Efficiency a couple months ago identified over 2 million illegal aliens in this country. They shouldn't even be here in the first place. They've been taking up, tens of billions of dollars worth of Social Security payments. It doesn't work. That's how these systems collapse in on themselves. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. And then also we We were talking a moment ago about the $9 billion every year of Social Security fraud, where generally you're having foreigners, scammers from India or the Congo or Nigeria or wherever else. I was reading an article about how North Koreans are doing this also. They are impersonating, they're stealing the identity of dead Americans and saying, hey, no, I'm still alive. I need to keep on getting my Social Security payments. And so this money is being sent out of the country to India or the Congo or wherever else because they are impersonating dead Americans in order to continue collecting their benefits. It's nuts. Absolutely insane. And so still, folks, right now, oh, guys, we have the official White House broadcast. They have officially gone live 2 minutes ago, which means any minute now, President Trump is going to come out and we're going to be live inside of the Oval Office. Now, I see somebody here in the live chat that says they need to stop taxing Social Security. Tracy is your name. Tracy, check this out. I'm sure we're going to be talking about that today, but I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. I did some research before going live today. Now that the big, beautiful bill has passed successfully about 5 weeks ago, 88% of American Social Security recipients are no longer going to be paying federal tax on their monthly Social Security payments. 88%, still 12% of Americans that are currently collecting Social Security, 12% are still going to have to pay federal tax. But 88%, the vast majority are not. 88%. And if you want a little bit more info about that, the big, beautiful bill eliminates federal income tax on people over the age of 65. Now, as far as I'm aware, you can start collecting Social Security payments when you are 62. That's the earliest you can start collecting them. Go ahead and let me know. I believe it's 62. So if you're between the age of 62 and 65, I suppose you can infer you will continue to pay federal income tax. But once you're 55 and above, you will not pay federal income tax on Social Security. I believe that's the case. And this is all in accordance with the big, beautiful bill, the one big, beautiful bill that got passed a couple weeks ago, about 5 weeks ago, on our nation's anniversary on the 4th of July, about 5 weeks ago. Now, right now, ladies and gentlemen, we are waiting for President Trump to come on out here. Trump was scheduled to go live in the Oval Office about 8 minutes ago. But hey, you know what? We are on Trump time. Trump is not on our time. We are on his time. So we are going to sit here. I do want to say once again, though, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Sincerely, everybody, I'm very blessed. We have such a great community. Everybody's tuning in today. It really means a lot. I appreciate everybody tuning in and hanging out and giving me your time and lurking. Lurking, maybe that's a term you guys are unfamiliar with. Lurking means you're tuning in, but you're not typing. So whether or not you are typing in the live chat on Rumble or on YouTube, or if you're lurking, you're sitting back, you're relaxing, you're enjoying the show, that's fine. Doesn't bother me as long as you're here. I appreciate it. It's all good. It's all good. We love our chatters and we love our lurkers equally. Now, here's a fun stat. I was checking my analytics on my YouTube broadcasts just the other day. About 45% of you guys tuning in are actually watching on a television. For me, I barely even own a television, but a lot of you guys, 45% or so, you guys are watching on the TV. Maybe you're sitting in the living room. You're watching on the couch. You got the remote. I'm a big computer guy. Everything I watch is on the computer these days, but about half of you guys are on the TV. Okay, great. Some of you guys, maybe 10% of you guys are on your mobile phone, on the smartphone. Even better. Great. However it is you are tuning in, I appreciate it. So thank you guys. So thank you very much. I see where you guys are. I can say, 7% of you guys are in Texas. 3% of you guys are in Missouri. I can see some of that stuff. I don't know exactly where you are. I don't know your address, but I've got a rough breakdown. It's kind of cool to look at that stuff. I'm a big analytics nerd when it comes to that stuff. But anyway, listen, President Trump is coming out here any minute, any second now. Any second now, he's going to step out and he's going to break it all down for us. Now, we have a super chat from Pepsi. From Pepsi, he says, Pepsi KJ is his name. He says, here's a small talk conversation. If your first year as president, what is the first 10 things to complete on your list? Oh, on my list? If I was president in the first year? Oh, man. I don't know if the country is ready for that. Listen, I'm a I love Trump. That's fine. I'm even maybe a little bit more to the right. I'm a little bit more radical than President Trump in a lot of ways. So listen, hey, I don't know if the country is ready for just how conservative. That's a common word, conservative. Maybe I'm even a little bit regressive. You've got the progressives, you've got the conservatives. Maybe I'm a little bit regressive. I'm like, we got to go backwards. We got to go way backwards. Maybe that's where I am. So, man, maybe you guys aren't even ready for that. Maybe the country's not ready for that. But who knows? I don't know. But I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Now we have another super chat here from Ocean Gun in the YouTube chat. He says, thanks for the coverage, Matt. Appreciate the work. Ocean Gun, I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate the support. And I also appreciate that any second now, President Trump himself is going to be coming out and laying down the information as it relates to Social Security. This is behind the scenes. Looks like the camera guys are getting ready here. This is coming out of the Associated Press. Oh, hold up. Now we're on the White House lawn. We're in the backyard here. The White House Media Corps is getting ready. They're getting set up here. All right. And this is the White House front lawn right here. Look at all the airplanes flying overhead. The airport is back there. What is that called? The JFK airport, I believe is what that is. Washington, D.C. really is a beautiful town. Architecturally, it really is beautiful. The architecture, it is beautiful. The problem is we've had all these hoodlums, all these young gangbangers running around shooting people, stabbing people, dealing drugs, and assaulting women, whatever. So finally, I say, hey, thank God President Trump is cracking down on this city. But you know what I say? Here's an example of maybe how I'm a little bit more radical. I'm looking at DC. I say, listen, guys, less than 1% of Americans even live in DC. So yeah, it's great that DC is getting cleaned up. I'm like, what about the rest of the country? Trump is deploying the National Guard or whatever, the FBI, to help clean up the streets of DC. Hey, let's send the National Guard into Chicago. Let's send the National Guard into Memphis, Tennessee, and Detroit, and Atlanta, and Philadelphia, and Boston, whatever. All of Los Angeles. Hell, I'm like, hey, listen, we got to fix up the country. Somebody's got to do something about this. So, hey, listen, DC, okay, we can start. It's our nation's capital. We can get started with DC here, but how about the rest of the country? Yeah, and thank you for the correction. It's not the JFK airport. It is the Washington Dulles airport. You're right. Thank you about that. I appreciate that. Thank you for the correction. Thank you very much. But yeah, somebody in the chat here says you got to start somewhere. And if you're going to start somewhere, where do you start? The nation's capital, which is Washington, D.C. It's a good starting point. I can meet you there. I can meet you halfway there. All right. And like I said, in a couple hours later today, after today's live broadcast here, I'm gonna get to work on a video that I'll have ready for you guys this afternoon, talking about this whole Washington, D.C. fiasco. Of course, all the radical progressives are melting down. Trump is a dictator. He's an authoritarian. Yeah, okay, all right. So I'll have a big video talking about a lot of this stuff later today. Must be nice to be AI. Sometimes I see people coming in my videos or my broadcasts calling me artificial intelligence. I think Matt is artificial intelligence. Hey, I am not. I'm going to take a sip of my water. I am a real person. Trust me, I am not artificial intelligence. Here, I'll take my hat off. I'll put my hat back on. I am a real person. Sometimes I wish I was artificial intelligence. Frankly, I would probably be a little bit more intelligent if I was artificial intelligence. Regrettably, I am stuck with human intelligence, which is at times inadequate or flawed. Although I think artificial intelligence is flawed a lot of the time too. So you know what? Maybe I'm better off just being a human. I'm probably better off just being a human. It's better to be a human than it is to be a robot. Hold up my finger. Here's my finger. There you go. I'm real. I swear. I swear I'm real. So folks, right now, if you are tuning in, we are about 15 minutes over time here. President Trump is set to come out and address the nation in the Oval Office, talking probably about Social Security any second now. This was scheduled to start about 15 minutes ago, but hey, we are on Trump time. Like I like to say, Trump is not late. He just arrives whenever he wants. And, Trump is not late. Really, we are early. We are early. That's the best way to put that, probably. Have you seen the new Joe Rogan episode with Anna Paulina Luna? Right, that's her name. She's the Republican House rep. No, I have not seen that. I have not seen that actually. Now, Christy, I see a big super chat. Christy says, "Are you drinking a LaCroix?" Yeah, this is a strawberry peach LaCroix. LaCroix. I don't know how to say that. I don't speak French. I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, that's what it is. I'm a big sparkling water guy. My wife is German, and I'm predominantly German blooded, and so in this house we speak a lot of German. We've got German in-laws. It's a big German thing they're drinking. They call it Sprudelwasser, sparkling water. So in this house we have a lot of sparkling water. We love our Sprudelwasser, is how we say it. And by the way, also we can say shout out to the Germans in the chat. We love our German viewers in the live chat. I see a couple of them. We love our Germans. President Trump, he said a couple years ago, he said, "I've got German blood. It's good blood." I think he said it's the best blood. President Trump a couple years ago, he said, "I've got German blood. It's some of the best blood." And of course, everybody got mad about that. They said, "Oh my God, he's a Nazi." President Trump said he's proud of his German blood. Oh my God, he's a Nazi. Okay. Shut up. Okay. Anyway, no, we love him. It's all good. Oh, I see a school in the chat. We have a Scandinavian in the chat. I'll tell you, listen, it is about 85% of my audience here on YouTube is American. We've got maybe 4, 5, 6% Canadians. We've got 4, 5, 6% people from the UK, British people. So it makes sense because these are English-speaking countries. And then when it comes to the Germans, it's like we have 0.5%, French people, 0.5%, really not a whole lot. This community pretty much is Canadians, Americans, and the Brits. We love the Brits. We like British people. We love the good Canadians. We love them. Can't complain. Hey, Gio, I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And once again, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Argentina here. Oh, my wife has some family down. Well, I shouldn't say that. Never mind. Zip it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We make a lot of jokes about the German ancestry in this house. I'm kidding. Anyway, so President Trump, listen, we are about 18 minutes. We're about 18 minutes over schedule here. So any second now, President Trump is going to be coming on out. He's going to talk to us about Social Security. Social Security right now, we're coming out. And we're going to, I think probably we're going to have some breaking news here. I think we are. During President Trump's second term, the Democrats have slammed his approach to helping improve the Social Security program, arguing cuts to the Social Security Administration's workforce and provisions in the Republicans' One Big Beautiful Bill will negatively impact the critical program. Now, like we said, President Trump's administration is set to lay off around 7,000 Social Security Administration employees. But it's because they were deemed unnecessary. They're really not, they weren't doing a whole lot. Okay. Can you imagine that we have people working in the federal government that are pretty much not doing anything? They're just kind of soaking up taxpayer money. And so that's exactly what was going on here. No surprise. While the Democrats flail and peddle lies about Social Security, President Trump is demonstrating his unbreakable commitment to protecting and strengthening this vital program for nearly 72 million Americans who benefit from it. Right now, folks, about 1 out of every 5 Americans is collecting Social Security payments. And so this is a problem. This is a problem that we've had for the last 40 or 50 or 60 years, really starting in the 1960s. As you guys know, Americans have stopped having kids. This is a problem. Back in the day, 100 years ago, every American family would have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids. Starting really in the 1960s, Americans started having comparatively small families. A lot of people had no kids at all, maybe 1 or 2. In order to maintain the population, every American woman has to have, on average, 2.1 children. Well, that hasn't been happening. The American reproduction rate is like 1.4 or 1.5, meaning what do we have? That means we have a shrinking population. Well, the reason why I'm talking about this is because as far as programs like Social Security go, that's a big problem, because in order to maintain Social Security, you have to have young people working, paying into it to support the old people that are taking out of it, right? And so this is a big problem. So there's a reason why today's broadcast is going to be so interesting. This is kind of a looming issue, and so it's going to be interesting to see how does the Trump administration actually handle this problem. It is a problem. This is arguably one of the reasons why. I mean, let's be honest here. Let's keep in mind, prior to the Trump administration in 2016, prior to the Trump campaign, which started in 2015, neither the Republicans or the Democrats really cared about shutting down the border, and neither of them really cared about deportations. It was really Trump that said, hold up, this is a problem. Listen, George Bush didn't do it. Obama didn't do it. Clinton didn't do it. Reagan granted amnesty to over 3 million illegal aliens. Nobody has really cared about this issue seriously. President Trump was one of the first guys. He said, listen, this is a problem. We got to shut down the border and start deporting these people. Okay. And so one of the ideas is that the reason why neither the Republicans or the Democrats really ever cared about shutting down the border and deporting all of these illegal aliens is because they all wanted them in the country to help keep the Social Security system afloat. They said, listen, if American families aren't having kids, then we need to start importing foreign workers, getting them in the country, getting them in the workforce to pay taxes. Hopefully, some of them are going to pay taxes to help keep the Social Security system afloat. That has ended up not really happening because a lot of them are just actually costing more money than they are contributing. So that plan has totally failed. Really, what does this mean? This means Americans need to have more kids. This means young Americans got to start pumping out kids. And so, hey, right now, I take it upon myself. I have 2 kids. I love my wife very much. We have 2 kids. And here's what I'll say. As long as you guys keep on tuning into the show and watching the videos here on YouTube and on Rumble, I swear we will keep having kids. As long as you guys keep on enjoying the show and coming back and liking and subscribing to the videos and everything, then I will keep on having kids. I said, sweetie, how many kids do you want? She said, I don't know, 4, 5, 6, I don't know. We'll just keep on going. So, all right, hey, okay. But really, here's the situation. Right now, we are 23 minutes overtime here. We need President Trump to come on out here and let us know what is going on with Social Security. We're about 23 minutes late, dare I say late. So that's the plan. He's going to step on out here and talk to us about what's going on any minute now. And of course, I do want to obligatorily say once again, thank you all very much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Look at this beautiful city. Look at that. You got the White House. This is a live feed of Washington, D.C. right now. There it is. Look at that. This is the Lincoln, or I'm sorry, the which one is in the back there? I think that might be Jefferson Memorial. You know, I guess we have a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this. I'm gonna pull up a map of Washington, D.C. Why not Google Maps? I've only been there once to Washington, D.C., and it was a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago now. I'm getting old. I'm getting old. I'm an old 31. There it is. There's Washington, D.C., right on the maps there. It is a beautiful city, though. Okay, here, while we wait for the man himself to come on out and talk to us. Okay, so, so listen, this is... Oh, I was right. That is the Jefferson. That is the Jefferson Memorial across the water there. That's the Lincoln one back there. But so the camera that we had was about right here. You see the White House, you see the Washington Monument, and then we also saw the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. Correct? Yep. Oh, hey, we've got some folks coming out here on the roof. What are they doing? Who knows? These look like, of course, we've got the Secret Service up there, but maybe these are some repair guys. Looks like they're doing some maintenance up there. Who knows what they're doing on top of the White House? But anyway, any minute now, President Trump is going to come on out. He's going to say, hey, this is what's going on with Social Security. Any minute now. And of course, This is the Washington, D.C., the United States Capitol building right here. There it is, under construction. They're doing some maintenance on there. Beautiful, beautiful building. And like I said earlier, there's a guy with a cross doing something. Like I said, this really is such a beautiful town. It is a shame just how downtrodden and degenerate this town has become. The filth, the crime, the gang violence, all of it. But luckily now President Trump has said, all right, enough is enough. We're going to clean this town up. We're getting these hoodlums off of the streets. We're taking back the city. Thank God. And thank God for that, really, seriously. I'm sure you guys have seen all the crime stats. Washington, D.C. is like 50 times more violent than a bunch of these other cities all around the world. Cities in the third world. You wouldn't think it's the case, but it is. Now, Michael P., as I was going live today, I said, where's Michael P.? It's been a little while since I've seen Michael P. There he is. I was thinking about you this morning. Hey, Michael, thank you. He says the Morse Force. Thank you very much. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you very much, Michael, and also good morning and good to see you. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're waiting for President Trump to come on out and talk about Social Security here. We've got some big changes and some bombshell news coming out. And then also, Michael, hey, thank you. Good morning. Happy Thursday morning. We have a super chat over here on Rumble from NDNB. He says, for the kids, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Shout out the guys on Rumble and on YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you all. Listen, you guys have to hand it to me. I'm pretty good at stalling. Okay, we are about a half hour behind schedule here, and we are stalling. We are waiting for President to come out. Man, I really need to get a job on some like mainstream news. No, I don't. Do I need to get a job in the mainstream media, like on Fox News or something? No, I don't. Absolutely not. No, I'm going to keep on doing my show here on YouTube and on Rumble. We're not going to get involved with the mainstream media. But hey, listen, the point stands. We're doing a good job stalling. We are waiting for President Trump. We're breaking it down. So hey, I want to say I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go through some of our Social Security facts here once again. Right now, about 70 million Americans are currently collecting Social Security payments. This is about 20% of the entire United States population, meaning 1 out of every 5 Americans is currently collecting Social Security. The average monthly Social Security payment, this is what I found on the internet earlier this morning. I asked Google and I asked Grok. Grok, what is the average monthly Social Security payment? It said about $2,000. I'm not sure if that's high or low, but that's what I was able to find. Let me know if you guys agree or not. That's what the internet says. About $2,000 per month is the national average Social Security payment. And this is the great thing about the Big Beautiful Bill. The Big Beautiful Bill, because it has passed about 5 weeks ago on the 4th of July, has now eliminated federal income tax for around 88% of monthly Social Security recipients. Is President Trump coming out? Okay, I'm looking at the Right Side Broadcasting Network. Oh, okay, yep, here he is. He's out. I need to turn on my audio here. Hold up. Bear with me here for just 1 second, folks. Getting the audio turned on.
To Social Security. He's running it, and he's running it like nobody ever even dreamt possible. And it's the 90th anniversary right now of Social Security. So today we celebrate that 90th anniversary of one of the most significant pieces of legislation ever signed into law, the Social Security Act of 1935, and we're going to make it stronger, bigger and better. Really doing a job. In the campaign, I made a secret pledge to our seniors that I would always protect Social Security, and under this administration, we're keeping that promise and strengthening Social Security for generations to come.
Thank you, Babo.
You keep hearing stories that in 6 years, 7 years, Social Security will be gone, and it will be if the Democrats ever get involved, because they don't know what they're doing.
True.
But it's going to be around a long time with us.
Very true.
Very much. You'll be surprised to hear some of the numbers. I'm delighted to be joined by the Commissioner of the Social Security Administration, Frank Bisignano. Oh, in the world of business, in fact, I wrote some of the little things down. He's had an amazing. He was chief operating officer of J.P. Morgan Chase. He worked for Jamie Dimon, and Jamie Dimon said that he was amazing. So think of that, chief operating officer, J.P. Morgan Chase, had a storied career. Then he went to First Data. For those in the business, you'd know it's the largest payment company anywhere in the world, and worked for Henry Kravis, and it was in big trouble. He took it over as CEO. He made it incredible. They merged with Fiserv, and he became CEO of that, and that became extremely successful. I was in Milwaukee. I guess they have the Milwaukee Arena, and where we had some good success and some good speeches. But he's a really legendary guy, and he wanted to do this. I mean, he just wanted to straighten out Social Security because he loves our country.
Yep.
And what he's done in a few months is amazing. Almost 60 million American seniors rely on Social Security for peace of mind and a life of dignity and retirement. These Americans paid into the system, and they deserve leaders in Washington who are going to protect the benefits they've had and protect Social Security.
No doubt.
Under Biden, Social Security went down like nobody's ever seen it, deteriorated. There's never been anything like it. The 4 years of Biden were very, very destructive. It couldn't have gone on much longer. Social Security was going to be destroyed. It was being destroyed. The average call wait time reached an all-time high of more than 42 minutes. Field office wait times were at 32 minutes, which is unheard of, and the disability claims backlog was the longest ever in recorded history.
Wow.
In other words, it was run just like the country was run. It was run really badly. But I'm pleased to report that under our leadership, and Frank in particular, the changes he's made and what he's done is sort of a miracle. Sort of like what happened with the country as a whole. Field office wait times are now down 30% since last year, and it looks like it's going to a total record number. And the record was set in a long time ago when the world was a lot different place. We're gonna beat that record. Call wait times are down 73%.
Whoa. While
serving twice as many customers per day. The disability claims backlog is down 26%, and seniors now have 24/7 online access to their accounts, which they never had before, whereas under Biden, the website was down 29 hours a week for maintenance purposes. It was essentially not open very much. They were always maintaining it, but they didn't know what the hell they were doing. They had a person running that had no idea what they were doing. Among my very first acts was to order all government employees to return to the office or be removed from the job, which means our Social Security offices are now open for full business hours 5 days a week. So unlike being shut down all the time, we're open at record levels also. We're making it really great for the people that want and demand Social Security, and they paid into the system. They deserve it. Last month, I signed one big, beautiful bill and allowed no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, okay? So how's that? Not bad, right? No tax on Social Security for our seniors. And to protect our benefits, we've already kicked nearly 275,000 illegal aliens off of the Social Security system. These are people, many of them have already left the country, and yet we were sending them checks all the time. And 275,000, and that number is now even larger than that, Frank. It's an unbelievable job. And what that's doing is making the system strong. It's making it strong.
That's $6.5
Biden
billion
never
a year.
kicked anybody off. Everybody joined. And we're carrying out historic deportations to remove many more illegals committing Social Security fraud. It's the Social Security fraud that was taking place at levels that nobody's ever seen. We cleared 12.4 million names listed in the Social Security database over 120 years of age. Think of that. So we had 12.4 million names where they were over 120 years old. Is that right? That's a hell of a statement. I have a feeling, Dan, that's not really gonna, it really didn't happen, did it? So you have 12.4 million names listed in the Social Security database that were over 100 120 years of age, meaning you were breaking records, because I've never heard of anybody at 125. There were nearly 135,000 people listed who were over 160 years old, and in some cases getting payments. So somebody's getting those payments, and we're after that. We're also fighting
Nigerian
the
scammers.
menace of inflation to make life more affordable for American seniors, and we've ended Biden's inflation nightmare. So we had the worst inflation in the history of our country, and now our inflation is down to a perfect number, a beautiful number, hardly any at all. And yet our country's taking in tens of billions of dollars and trillions of dollars, actually trillions of dollars in tariffs. And you know all about it. It's been amazing. They say, why are we taking in so much money? Last week they found $29 billion and they couldn't figure out where it came from. I said, check the tariff shelf. And they said, how did you know that's where it came from? We're taking in billions and even trillions of dollars in tariffs, paid by other countries who, frankly, were taking advantage of us for many, many years. And they were doing that to us, but our people didn't know it. We didn't have smart business people. We've ended Biden's inflation nightmare and came in below expectations, and yet, again, this past month, we set records. Gasoline prices are way down, and really dramatically, as everybody knows, and energy prices have been going down, other than in certain states where you have Democrat-run states where they put windmills all over the place. Anytime you see a windmill, you'll say, well, they have bad energy costs, and it's happening in New Jersey. I saw that there's a revolution going on in New Jersey. They closed up a nuclear power plant, and they're raising electricity rates by 21, 22, and 28%, something like that. And you're going to have a new governor in New Jersey. I tell you what, you have a good man running in the Republican Party. He'll get him down. But what they've done is they've killed so many good sources of energy for very expensive windmills and lots of other things that don't work. 401ks and retirement accounts are soaring, and the stock market is setting record highs. Almost every day we're going record highs, and yet we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. So it's turned out that Trump was right and they were wrong. A few smart people knew what was going to happen. A few of us were right. So we're going to keep the fighting going. We're going to make America's seniors every single day. We're going to fight for them. We're going to make them richer, better, stronger in so many different ways. But Social Security is like pretty much the one that we think about, and we love it, and we love what's happening with it. And it's going to be good for 90 years and beyond. Again, you were given only a short period of time. Social Security was supposed to be like down. Had they won the election, Social Security would have defaulted during Biden or Kamala's election, whoever
I'm sure
they so chose.
I'm sure.
Two beauties.
Yep.
And now what I'd like to do is ask Frank to say a few words. Again, this is a man with a really storied past. He's one of the most successful anywhere in the world. What he did at J.P. Morgan Chase and what he did for Henry Kravis and all of the others are like legendary stories. And he just wanted to do this. He's making about a tiny fraction, I would say, a tiny fraction of what you used to make. But he didn't care. He wanted to do it. He made a lot of money. And he said, I want to run that system. I want to put it back on track. And he's got an unbelievable talent over there. It's like a different place. So, Frank, would you say a few words, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right,
Is
Frank.
less than 1% tiny fraction, sir?
Is that what it is? Less than one? That's a tiny
That's
fraction.
an honor.
He's
It's
making
an
it.
honor. It is an honor. And I'd like to start off by thanking the president for his tireless effort in running the country and what he's done across the country, meeting every commitment. And, you know, I see it directly in the big, beautiful bill, the opportunity that it's brought to seniors. But his effort on every commitment, delivering against it, and delivering on world peace tirelessly. I'd like to also thank him for my opportunity. You know, he's teasing me, I'm teasing him about the economics of the job. But the reality is to serve 300 million Americans, which is what Social Security serves, is a tremendous honor. And him putting that faith in me and building what I believe what I believe, and I think I have a right to say it, is the best leadership team ever assembled in the White House and in the cabinet. So that's my great honor. So I come here and get the opportunity to serve the American public in a manner that I never imagined in my life. And what we found was the opportunity to fix a foundation. The reality is, people talk about 72 beneficiaries. I talk about over 300 million Americans with a Social Security number that we must protect through the system. And when you look at what we talk about in eliminating Social Security numbers that were live in the system, they could carry fraud through the whole system. So the first thing was root out fraud, waste, and abuse. But while doing it, the best way to be more efficient is provide more accurate payments and better service. And you heard the numbers. I think the most staggering number is that we had a website that was down 29 hours.
That's insane.
This will be a digital-first agency, and we are building my SSA accounts. That's the digital account. And we have a bold goal of 200 million Americans to have a digital SSA account by the end of next year. It will happen. Just like we had a bold goal of single-digit wait time on the calls when they were at 40 minutes. And we did that. This is my 100th day. We did that within 90 days, right? Get the web up and running, bring technology to our field offices, use digital presence to answer and serve the American public. That's the job. When we do all that, then we'll really know the answer to if we have a hole, right? I was presented my second week on the job with $18 billion in errors by the Inspector General. It was public.
Wow.
In less than a month, we solved 9 billion of it. So that's the type of swift action we can take, right? You see the things like the big beautiful bill for the seniors. You see better digital services. You see field office wait times down. If you make an appointment to have a field office visit, it now happens in 6 minutes. Unprecedented. We are serving more people and delivering more than was ever delivered before in a manner with the highest possible quality, and we've just begun. You should expect this to be a great digital-first agency. My commitment to make this happen is as deep as the President's commitment to make the world a great place. And you see the fabulous job happening here across America and what he's doing in the world. You should expect Social Security, just like the President. I thank him for making America great again. It's happening. Social Security will be great again. You have my commitment.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Frank. I'm going to sign the new proclamation, please.
Sir, this is a proclamation both commemorating the 90th anniversary of the Social Security Act, the signing of the Social Security Act, and also the incredible accomplishments of your administration fixing and promoting and safeguarding Social Security. And it also obviously mentions the fact that as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill, a vast majority of our senior citizens are no longer paying taxes on their Social Security benefits, as you promised in your campaign and as you delivered for the American people.
Good.
That's a big factor, isn't it? Huh?
Yes, sir.
That's great. I think they're very happy about it, too. They're very happy about a lot of things. Good job, Frank.
Thank you, sir.
And Frank has brought with him some of the most talented people in business, and they were making a lot of money, but they made a lot of money. They had money they didn't have to make anymore, and they just want to do this. They want to have our country become strong and good, and that's what's happening. And we're doing that in a lot of locations, a lot of areas. You deal with some of the people that are commissioners, that are secretaries of state, of secretaries of treasury and of commerce, people that were really, really successful people, and they gave all that up to make a very small amount of money. They don't even consider it a fraction. You say 1%, less than 1%, you're less. It's pretty good. That's a big pay cut. But Frank is one of the most outstanding of all. His career has been incredible, and you just have to look at what happened at J.P. Morgan Chase and look at what happened with First Data. First Data was the biggest company of its kind in the world, but it was not going to make it. He went in, and it became a tremendous success and merged into another company, and he became the head of that company. Then he said, let me go save Social Security. Because as big as that stuff is, it's small potatoes compared in terms of numbers, right? In terms of numbers, these are big numbers. Government numbers are big numbers. So I want to thank everybody for being here, but I'm really proud of you, Frank. And here's your proclamation, and let's take a look at what that looks like.
There it is.
Signed by the human hand.
Not an auto pen.
For a change. That's good, right? Do you have any questions for Frank? How about the questions for Frank?
Mr. President.
For Frank?
Mr. President?
Yes, on Social Security.
Please.
First and foremost, this was a major campaign promise that you had for 2023. It was one of the first Agenda 47s that you put out. It was titled, We Must Protect Medicare
Right.
and Social Security. Why was this important for both of you to get done, and given the fact that it'll impact millions of lives?
Well, it was very important to me because I knew how Social Security, I've been hearing about it for years, long before I came to office, that it was really going to die very shortly, and I had to put somebody outstanding in. And I was talking to him on a business sense once, and I said, this guy's amazing. And he said, I'd love to help you with Social Security, because it's sort of what he does. You know, he takes troubled entities and turns them around, and he did some of the biggest messes in the world, and Social Security in a certain way, I guess. You know, you reported it all the time. In 4 or 5 years, it's going to go bust, but not anymore. It's not, and he's got it turned around so well. The proclamation helps. All of the things we've done help, and he's finding such tremendous fraud where we have illegal aliens. We have people that don't even exist on Social Security now. They don't exist, and what it does, it makes it totally secure and powerful for the people that are on it and need it. And we're very proud of the job he's done, one of the best.
Lock it down.
Kara Castro from Lindell TV. How are you today, sir? Democrats like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren continue to peddle the lie and the claim that you're trying to cut Social Security, despite your repeated promises to protect it. Why do you think they keep pushing this misinformation and literally terrorizing the elderly in America that sadly keep watching the very misleading
They are
mainstream media?
liars.
I love your question. I should have called you almost first, but I love his questions also, always. But it's such a good question. It's so vicious what they do. Elizabeth Warren said she was an Indian. We call her Pocahontas. She's a liar. She lied her whole career. Based on the fact that she was an Indian, she was able to get into certain colleges, get certain jobs, get into certain universities to work there. She's a liar and a mean person. She's a nut job. I watched her the other night. She's all hopped up endorsing a communist in New York City, and she was all excited and jumping up and down. She's got to take a drug test. She really does. She's got to take a drug test. There's no way somebody can act that way and be normal. What she's done to our financial institutions, he destroys people. Do you know that you had a lot of great banks in the Midwest and banks that loaned to farmers and others, and they went out of business? She put them out of business. Stone cold mean. Banks that were open 150 years, family banks that supplied the farmers and manufacturers and others, and she put them out of business. She's a mean, horrible human being. Bernie Sanders is Bernie Sanders. I don't mind him so much. He's just a liberal guy, very liberal guy. He's a wacky guy. He's still sharp. I got to tell you, you know, he's 86 or 87 or something. He's still sharp. You compare that to Joe Biden.
Look at that.
It's, you know, sort of what happened. So I don't mind Bernie Sanders. With him, you know what you're getting. You're getting a guy, he's a nasty guy, but he's somebody that, I don't know if I call it a fastball, but he's able to throw the ball pretty well. He's okay. I watched him the other day. He was totally on the opposite side of things. I will say this, the biggest issue right now, and an issue that's really taken hold, is crime, stopping crime in the cities, and the Democrats are fighting the stopping of crime. So I think that's like men playing in women's sports is okay, or transgender for everybody okay, but this is a bigger issue. This is the biggest of all issues. Crime is rampant in D.C. It's rampant in our generally blue-run cities.
Yep.
And they've got to do something about it, or they're never going to win another election. And instead of calling me a dictator, they like to say Trump's a dictator. Trump's a dictator. Well, I had calls from many, many friends, including Democrats. I have a lot of Democrat friends, but they're normal people. And they were thanking me so much for what I'm doing in D.C. They feel so safe already. And you know, at the border, we had 0 people come in, and this is done by a liberal group. They're the people that do it. I have nothing to do with it. 0 people in 3 months. We had 0, 0, and 0 for 3 months. And last year we had millions of people pouring in from all countries, from jails, from drug addicts, gang members, drug dealers by the thousands and thousands. 11,888 murderers, half of whom committed more than one murder. They flowed into our country. And for the last 3 months, we had none. And I didn't remember when Joe Biden used to always go, I need legislation. I had no legislation. I just said, we're closing the borders. And the whole world understood it because they respect your country again. They really respect this country again. They didn't respect it. When he said it, it didn't mean anything. But now they know it meant a lot. And Mexico does what we tell them to do. And Canada does what we tell them to do, because we have the 2 borders. We have the northern border, the southern border. And they were both horrible, but now it's some people say it's a miracle. Well, what Frank has done with Social Security also is something very special. But what we're doing with crime, which will be your next question, I guess, that's because everyone's they're afraid. Half of the people here, maybe all of the people here, most of you live in D.C., you are petrified to go out, and you're liberal, and if you're liberal, you're going to have to change. You're Democrats. Yeah. You're going to have to change your ways. So we will have crime under control very shortly in D.C., but they're record numbers. And sadly, what I guess the mayor did, but whoever it was, they asked the numbers to be fudged so that it would show less crime than the fact. The fact is, it's worse than it's ever been. They do. And we will have it just like we did at the border, where with borders are totally in great shape right now, the best ever, record-setting shape. We'll have the crime situation solved in D.C. very soon. And we're also going to beautify the city. We have a beautiful city, but you can't have graffiti, and you can't have roads with potholes, and you can't have the medians, the dividers in the roads falling down on the street. We're going to be beautifying the city, making it really beautiful. We're going to be getting the criminals the hell out of here. We don't want the criminals in Washington, D.C.
Mr. President, one on your Putin meeting and then one on D.C. crime. Are you prepared to offer Vladimir Putin access to rare minerals to incentivize him to end?
We're going to see what happens with our meeting. We have a big meeting
tomorrow.
It's going to be, I think, very important for Russia, and it's going to be very important for us, and important for us only that we're going to save a lot of lives. Look, we have, we're not paying any money, as you know, to Ukraine. We're supplying equipment. We're being paid 100% plus for that equipment by NATO. And I got NATO up from 2% to 5% of GDP. They now have billions of dollars. NATO is a very rich group of countries, and we make the best military equipment anywhere in the world by far. And they're buying our equipment, and they're paying 100% for the equipment, 100%. In fact, they owe us about $2 billion now. They're going to send a check. Another one was sent recently for $1 billion. So we're not spending any money anymore. Biden gave them $350 billion, got nothing for it. And if you look, and by the way, we also signed a rare earth deal where we get, years of rare earth to get our money back, the money we spent.
Yep.
But what I'm really doing this for is to save thousands of soldiers a week. You have Russian soldiers, you have Ukrainian soldiers, and then you'll have missiles dropped into various cities and towns in Ukraine. And they're losing last week they lost 7,251 people, mostly soldiers, Russian and Ukrainian soldiers. I'm doing it for that reason. We have a meeting with President Putin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good meeting, but the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Putin, President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great. I've solved 6 wars in the last 6 months, a little more than 6 months now, and I'm very proud of it. I thought the easiest one would be this one. It's actually the most difficult. We had one war raging, as you know, for 37 years. One in the Congo with Rwanda was raging for 31 years. We solved 6 of them, made peace, not just solved them, we made peace. If you look at Pakistan and India, that was, planes were being knocked out of the air. 6 or 7 planes came down. They were ready to go, maybe nuclear, we solved that. I thought this would be maybe an easier one. It never made sense, this war. It would have never happened when I was president. If I were president, this war would have never happened. But millions of people have been killed. And I'm there for one reason, to see if I can solve. This was Biden's war. This isn't my war. I want to see if I can stop the killing. Yeah.
Rare earths, do you plan to offer him access to that at all?
We have great rare earth. We made that as payment for all of the money that we've spent so foolishly in Ukraine. We spent $350 billion. Now Europe spent $1 billion. That's a lot of money. They spent $100 billion. That's a lot of money. But we shouldn't be spending a lot more money than them, and they understand that. And I think that's maybe why we're not spending money anymore. We're not spending any money. They're paying us for everything. So it's people are shocked when they hear it. They don't even understand. They don't even write about it. But we're not spending money, but we are spending a lot of time trying to get the war solved. If we can get the war solved, we'll be very happy. As far as rare earth, that's very unimportant relative to, I'm trying to save lives.
And on DC crime, sir, on DC crime.
Do you have a message for the Democrat lawmakers like Nancy Pelosi or media who are saying, after living here for many years, that there is no crime and you're trying to start a new news cycle?
It's another reason why the Democrats lost the election in a landslide. They lie. It's just lie. Look, the crime is very bad. I think they'd be much better off saying, we want to help President Trump with the crime because it's an epidemic. It's a tragic situation. It's the worst it's ever been. And we want to help President Trump with the crime, as opposed to, he's a dictator. He's a dictator. People are so happy to see our military going into D.C. and getting these thugs out. As you know, we arrested a lot of people yesterday. We arrested a lot of people today. We're getting people that have arrest records that you wouldn't believe. 28 arrests, 15 arrests, brutal people. And we're going to have to do something about this cashless bail, because people shoot somebody, they kill somebody, and they're out on the street in less than an hour. Now, that's when it's all started in New York, in Chicago, Los Angeles. You take a look. If we didn't go to Los Angeles to help this incompetent governor and a mayor that doesn't know what the hell she's doing, if we didn't go to Los Angeles, you wouldn't have a big part of it burned down. The other part of it would have burned down too. You would have not had, I don't think you would have been able to have the Olympics. We have the Olympics. I have a lot at stake with that because I'm the one that got the Olympics. I got it in my first term, and I was saddened because I got it for what would be my third term, okay, which turned out to be second term. And the Olympics, it's a great honor, but I felt badly because I said I won't be president when the Olympics came. Well, through circumstance, I am president. I want to make sure the Olympics is great, the World Cup is great, and the 250, maybe the most important of all, is the 250-year celebration is great. So what's happening is we will work very hard. You would not have had, I don't believe that if I didn't send in the troops, I don't think you would have had Los Angeles in condition to have the Olympics. I think you would have had to tell them, I'm sorry, you're going to have to go someplace else.
Very likely.
And if you look at the police commissioner or the sheriff, he said, we really needed them. Thank God they were here. We really needed them. That was the first 2 or 3 days after we solved their problems. Then he said, well, I think we could have maybe done it. No, he was told what to say. He said, you go back to your files and see what he said. He said, thank goodness they came. If I didn't go and put our military there, or National Guard in that case, and we'll go military if we have to, but the National Guard went there. They were very effective. If we didn't do that, I don't think you would have had the Olympics in Los Angeles. The place would have been just like the 25,000 houses that burned down, where, by the way, the governor ought to focus on getting their permits. You know, the federal permits are given. Those are the hard ones, and they were given a long time ago. People can't rebuild the house because they can't get permits from the state and the city, and they ought to focus on that because it's very upsetting. I went there right after the fires. I walked the streets and I met a lot of great people that want to rebuild their homes. We took care of it from the federal standpoint, but they're not taking care of it from the city side, the mayor and the governor. They're not getting their permits. They can't build their houses.
Mr. President, on DC crime.
Go ahead, please.
Mr. President, thank you. Do you think this summit and the incentives for peace you are putting on the table could end up rewarding Putin for his invasion of Ukraine? And what kind of signal do you think that could potentially send to other aggressors?
No, I don't think it's a reward. I think that what we have is a situation that should never have started, should have never started. It didn't start under me, and for 4 years it wasn't even discussed. And I could see it was going to happen after I left. I could see what was happening. Everything that we did was wrong. Everything that was done was wrong. Everybody's to blame. Putin's to blame. They're all to blame. This is a war that would have never happened.
Mr. President, on DC crime, sir.
The other question on LA, Mr. President, earlier today, the Washington, D.C. police chief issued an executive order allowing metropolitan police officers conducting traffic stops to notify federal immigration and customs enforcement about undocumented immigrants that they encounter. Yet the city has a long-standing pro-immigration policy, including allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections,
which is ridiculous.
and limiting cooperation with federal immigration agencies.
Right.
Did your administration pressure the D.C. police chief to review and repeal these policies? And will you require other cities to roll back similar policies to avoid possible federal takeover of local law
Yeah,
enforcement?
so what you're saying is that it was a very positive thing. When they stop people, they find they're illegal, they report them, they give them to us, etc.
Good.
That's a very positive thing.
Yeah, good.
I have heard that. It just happened. That's a great step. That's a great step if they're doing that. Yeah, I think that's going to happen all over the country. We want to stop crime.
It needs to happen.
I think if the Democrats aren't strong on this issue, they won't be able to do it. I think this is a bigger issue than all of the other ridiculous things that they like open borders. Well, open borders is bad. Open borders has caused a lot of this problem, allowing millions and millions. I think 24 million people were allowed to come into our country. Many of these people from prisons, from jails, from mental institutions. This was the Biden policy. And I don't believe it was him. He was never there before. It was the people that encircled this very beautiful desk, the Resolute desk. Radical left lunatics who were smart, but radical left. And I'm very happy to hear what you just said, because I've heard that.
And Mr. President, on LA, if I may, the mother of a 15-year-old California boy who was briefly detained at gunpoint in a case of mistaken identity. The LAUSD superintendent says that surveillance video shows armed agents wearing police and border patrol insignia. Given the National Guard, the Border Control, ICE agents, they're not trained in local policing. What specific steps are you taking to ensure that young people are not put in harm's way with these types of operations?
Yeah, what they are trained in is common sense, and they're very tough people. And they have great common sense, and they are highly trained. I heard the mayor of L.A. was saying, "Oh, they're not trained this way." I heard this character from
She's not trained.
where was he from? They talk about him as a candidate. He's got no chance. The governor of Maryland. I watched him this morning saying that the governor of Maryland. Yeah, they say maybe he'll be a president. He's not presidential timber at all. But I heard him today talking about how the National Guard or the military is not trained in police, but they're trained in common sense, and they're trained in not allowing people to burn down buildings and bomb buildings and shoot people and all of the things. They've done a great job. Again, if we didn't send them, and very importantly, if we didn't send them into Los Angeles, the rest of Los Angeles would have been burned down to the ground. When you look at Minnesota, Minneapolis, I sent them into Minneapolis because the governor wouldn't make the call. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't have a Minneapolis. It wouldn't be, I don't think it would be existent today. You remember the famous scene burning over the CNN anchor's shoulder? He said, everything seems to be very peaceful. And behind him, the whole city's burning down. So you had the whack job governor who ran for vice president, who made a fool out of himself. You would have had, I saved that city. I'll tell you, I saved that city. So the bottom line is these are very tough people that are trained in a thing called common sense, and they're also trained in doing what we're talking about right now. And you watch crime stop, but you wouldn't have Los Angeles. It wouldn't be existent today. We would have had to cancel the Olympics if I let that go on.
Mr. President, are you concerned at all, Mr. President? Will you
pressure Israel to allow journalists into Gaza to cover the humanitarian efforts the U.S. is pursuing? And
I'd like to see that happen, sure.
Would you pressure?
I would like to see it happen. I would be very fine with journalists going in. It's a very dangerous position to be in, as you know, if you're a journalist. But I would like to see it.
And on tariffs, Brazil, Mexico, and Latin America are getting closer to China, and they say it's partly because of the tariffs you're imposing in those countries. Are you concerned them getting closer to China?
No, not at all. I'm not concerned at all. They can do what they want. None of them are doing very well, and what we're doing in terms of economics, we're blowing everyone away, including China. We're doing better than any other country in the world right now. Brazil has been a horrible trading partner in terms of tariffs. As you know, they charge us tremendous tariffs, far, far more than we were charging them. We weren't charging anything, essentially. And Brazil has some very bad laws happening where they took a president and they put him in jail, or they're trying to jail him. And I happen to know the man, and I will tell you, I'm pretty good at people. I think he's an honest man. I think what they've done, this is really a political execution that they're trying to do with Bolsonaro. I think that's terrible. But they also treated us very badly as trading partners for many, many years. One of the worst countries on earth for that. They charged tremendous tariffs, and they made it very difficult to do anything. So now they're being charged 50% tariffs, and they're not happy, but that's the way it goes.
Mr. President, on DC crime, sir, on DC crime, are you concerned at all that some federal officers that are helping DC police might be being pulled away from other high priority assignments?
Like what? Like what?
Yeah, like what?
Oh, really? Terrorism? They'll stop terrorism as part of what they're doing right now. No. The soldiers that we have, first of all, we have plenty of them, long beyond that you have here. We're just using a very small force. You know, in Washington, D.C., they have thousands of police. They have a lot of police.
Terrorism.
But the police weren't allowed to do their job. We have a lot of great ones. And you have some that weren't so good, to be honest, but they weren't allowed to do their job. But now they are allowed to do their job, and essentially it's only 2 days, but you look at the numbers already, they're dropping. And no, they're not being pulled off for anything.
Mr.
Mr. President, as you know, there were some
Gabbard,
very concerning reports about crime statistics. Police are manipulating crime data to downplay crime in D.C. Will the administration release its own crime statistics to counter their misinformation? And will those individuals who are intentionally misrepresenting crime data and fudging the books, like you said, be penalized for endangering the public?
They are under investigation right now. They are giving us phony crime stats, just like they gave other stats in the financial world, but they're phony crime stats. And Washington, D.C. is at its worst point, and it will soon be at its best point. You're going to have a very safe, you're going to have a crime-free city. I mean, I say that. You're going to have virtually a crime-free city. And these are strong men, but the criminals are strong men and women, but they're strong men. And these are people that don't play games. We're not playing games. These are criminals we're dealing with. And they treated people. They took one of the people that worked for us the other day. You saw the beating, the pounding, 10 against 1. And they pounded the hell out of him. He's lucky to be alive. He's barely, almost killed.
Big balls.
And we're not going to have that happening, please.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified more documents last night related to the Russiagate hoax.
She's doing a great job, by the way. That was another fake story. I'm very happy with the job she's doing. That's right. They declassified some terrible documents talking about Democrats and what they do. Radical left lunatics.
It showed that then DNI James Clapper sent out emails to IC officials saying that it would be a team sport to push then the debunked 2017 ICA report, and that it might need them to compromise on their normal modalities. What's your reaction to the latest declassification? And in your view, sir, what does real accountability look like for the players involved?
It's incredible what we're finding. Absolute proof of guilt. And we'll see what happens. But Clapper and Comey and that whole group of criminals, they're criminals. And they made it very tough. You know, they did the fake Russia witch hunt that lasted for 2 years. And I got totally exonerated. There was no doubt about it. They should have done it in 1 day, not 2 years. But it was a whole scheme to try and demean Trump so that I couldn't win an election. And that is a criminal group of people. They're sick people, and they're criminals, and they should be taken care of.
Mr. President. Does Putin have a strong hand tomorrow?
Well, he came to our country, and I heard CNN fake news talking about that was a big win for him. Normally, you would say the opposite, but they said, oh, it's a big win that he came here. Normally, we would say the opposite, he came here. I think that President Putin would like to see a deal. I think if I weren't president, he would take over all of Ukraine. It's a war that should have never happened. If I weren't president, in my opinion, he would much rather take over all of Ukraine. But I am president, and he's not going to mess around with me.
Mr. President, on Russia, Mr. President, would you support or agree to reducing NATO troops in Europe, in countries like Poland, in order to get Russia to agree to a peace deal?
That hasn't been put before me, and I'll think about that for later, but it has not been put before me. Go ahead.
Is anything less than an unconditional and immediate ceasefire a victory for the U.S.?
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, tomorrow we'll see. I say, I don't know where that comes from. It's sort of not a good question. I would say that tomorrow, all I want to do is set the table for the next meeting, which should happen shortly. I'd like to see it happen very quickly, very shortly after this meeting. I'd like to see it actually happen maybe in Alaska, where we just stay because it's so much easier. But I think that it's going to be very interesting. We're going to find out where everybody stands, and I'll know within the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes, like we tend to find out whether or not we're going to have a good meeting or a bad meeting. And if it's a bad meeting, it'll end very quickly. And if it's a good meeting, we're going to end up getting peace in the pretty near future. Okay? How about one more?
Thank you, Mr. President. On the Smithsonian, I know that your administration is seeking to weed out a lot of this left-wing spin that's in the museums, but we're seeing from people like Brian Stelter or other commentators that they're insinuating that you are trying to change history according to your narrative. What's your response to that, and is there anything you particularly like to do?
Well, we want the museums to treat our country fairly. We want the museums to talk about the history of our country in a fair manner, not in a woke manner or in a racist manner, which is what many of them, not all of them, but many of them are doing.
All right.
Our museums have an obligation to represent what happened in our country over the years, good and bad, but what happened over the years in an accurate way.
There you go.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Cut it out right here. Thank you, press. Thanks, guys.
These
Cut it out
questions
right
from
this way. Right this way. Thanks, guys. Keep coming.
See the video of the
Let's go,
sandwich
So stupid.
thrown at the officer?
So incredibly stupid. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. That is President Trump's big address, predominantly talking about Social Security. And then at the end, we answered some questions about other stuff, talking about this big Russia, U.S., Ukraine negotiation meeting that's going on tomorrow. Now, I've seen a couple people in the live chat ask, what really is the big bombshell news about Social Security? I'm tuning in late to the show. Did I miss anything? So if I could condense or extract one concise piece of information for you guys, what is happening with Social Security? Now that the big beautiful bill has passed, seniors over the age of 65 are not going to have to pay federal income tax on their Social Security monthly payments. What this means is that 88% of monthly Social Security recipients no longer have to pay federal income tax. That's what this is. It's not everybody, it's 88% of monthly Social Security recipients over the age of 65. That's pretty much who it is. Okay, so that's that. That's really the big bombshell about Social Security. And then we kind of deviated off and talked about some other stuff. That's President Trump's big Oval Office briefing for today. I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today. Guys, tomorrow we are going to do another big live broadcast tomorrow afternoon, because as I understand it, we were just talking about this. President Trump is meeting in Alaska with Putin at some point tomorrow. After their meeting, this is what I have heard, is that both Putin and Trump, if things go well, we're going to cross our fingers, they will both talk to the media and answer questions about what's going on tomorrow. So I will be live tomorrow. Tomorrow's topic is going to be Russia, Ukraine, Trump, America, all of this, the peace negotiations. So that's what's on the docket for tomorrow. But this is going to kind of be a wrap up for today's show. Now, I want to say, on Rumble and on YouTube, everybody do me a favor. Please make sure to subscribe and to like today's broadcast. It helps a lot. This is something I'm very bad at doing, but I really need to do it. If you have not followed me on Twitter, everybody, please, or X as it is now called, please make sure to follow me on X or Twitter. It helps a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody tuning in again today as well. There's the link in the Rumble chat. We got the link in the YouTube chat. Everybody, thank you very much. It really means a lot. All the super chats over there and over here, thank you guys very much. I need to get going because I have a video I need to get to work on so I can have a video for you guys in a couple hours. So I got to get to work. I got to wrap up with the fun and games, get to work so you guys have something to watch a couple hours from now. So thank you all very much. I will see you all tomorrow for tomorrow's live broadcast. Everybody have a great Thursday evening. Have a great Friday morning, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you all very much. But once again, Matt Morse TV Rumble, Matt Morse TV YouTube, Matt Morse TV on Twitter or X. Everybody have a great day. God bless. And